Wanted to address the topic of why doesn't God just wipe out the devil? I don't have a definite, clear, 100% answer, but I got some ideas on it I think you might believe is interesting. First and foremost, it doesn't allow the fact that the devil is not going to evolve into being God play out. If when the devil rebelled, when Lucifer rebelled, he was an incredible being. He was in a high position. He had a lot of power, and he would have been looking at God, who basically stated that he is eternal, he is the start and finish, there's no beginning or end, he is the Alpha Omega, and he is what we call the uncaused cause. Therefore, God is claiming to be the I am, or simply the one that exists. And that being possible to be the source of everything and the beginning of everything. So Satan is probably looking at him and thinking, is he just there, and is he the I am? Because it's as hard for him to comprehend as it is for us. So therefore, he reasoned and he used his intellect and his mind and believed it was possible that God had actually evolved, and that maybe God was lying or deluded, and that God had somehow become what he was or evolved to what he was, and that Satan too could evolve to what God was and take that place. So that hence the rebellion. And the idea is so viable intellectually that a third of the angels agreed and went with him. The idea is so viable intellectually that mankind also joined him, because technically the early humans went and subscribed to his belief system that we could become as God. The world religions today, even the spin-offs of Christianity, the Mormons have the saying, as God is, man shall be, and as man is, God once was. They have that belief that man is becoming as God, largely through work and effort. The Buddhists and Hindus have the idea of ascension through effort and separation from corrupt flesh and such. Basically, the world religions are about ascension. Pyramids, minarets, and such all show, even on our dollar bill, the steps up the pyramid leads to enlightenment. So basically, in our scientific beliefs, evolution, in our religious beliefs, evolution, the idea of evolving is crucial for Satan in the justification of him dividing himself or splitting away from God and starting his own thing. If you wipe him out, you actually show that possibly he was right and you're trying to hide it, and you don't allow the object lesson to play out over time as it should, and you lose actually the ability for us to see that Satan is not evolving, that in fact unplugged from God he will deteriorate and he won't improve, but he will actually the opposite, and same with us. So that's an important role of Satan in history. It's I don't think something that Satan would be proud of or agree with, but I think that by wiping him out, you lose that major point. That said, I don't think that God perhaps set him up for that or likes the idea of that. There actually is some indication of a relationship between God and Satan. I think the book of Job is extremely interesting. If you just stop the story at the beginning, it starts off with the angels gathering and Satan is amongst them. And God basically says to Satan, "What have you been up to?" Satan says, "I've been wandering the earth." Satan at that point is confronted with God saying, "Have you considered my servant Job?" Now, anytime you say, "Have you considered this?" You're basically continuing a conversation. So I think the beginning of Job exposes an ongoing conversation or debate between God and Satan. I can only imagine it's God trying to convince Satan that he's on the wrong track. And he's using Job, who is a human being who was born separate from God, but who is sticking with God and trying to stay plugged into the source of life. He's using him as an example of a person who actually believes the opposite of Satan. Job is demonstrating that he needs to be reliant to God and stay close to God and relies on his help rather than his own effort. Satan then comes back with all these reasons why Job's just following you for all the great stuff you give him, basically. And they go through this horrendous experience where Job proves that his honor and loyalty to God has nothing to do with the benefits of it, but it has everything to do with his perception of reality and his belief in what God is. So therefore, there seems to be an indication very clearly in Job that God is working to convince the angels who have fallen that perhaps they're on the wrong track. It also shows, as an interesting side note, our role in the spiritual stage and what's going in a much larger arena than just the earth and the spirit world. That what we do has ripples and impact. Concerning the accuracy of the Bible, I'll just make two quick points. One is we'll contend anything. I don't think God would put anything as bulletproof because nothing's bulletproof in our mind. We could take the most obvious, straightforward message and we could hire a lawyer and twist it around. We could twist it around ourselves. If we're bent on not reading the truth and just finding out what something means, and we're bent on an agenda, we will twist it. Bottom line, there's no getting away from that. As far as some of the contentions, I think that the Bible is open to bringing up. I think in Christianity, how you baptize somebody, exactly how you're saved even. There's a lot of things that the Bible doesn't just completely close on and leaves open for some debate. And I think that's why you have differences in denominations and such. I think those differences are good. I think those contentions were meant to sharpen our minds and continue debate. I think within perfection, we're still going to argue, we're still going to debate, but in a good way that's perfect, that doesn't tear down and doesn't actually divide. So I think that even in heaven, we're going to have debates. I think we're going to have disagreements on how to interpret certain things. And I think some of the mysteries we've been dealt on earth are going to continue and perhaps not be answered, but that's fine. And where it becomes a problem is our imperfection, our pettiness, and our limited thinking then turns these things into basically pet beliefs that turn away others. And you get people saying, if you're not baptized in my church, you're just not going to heaven. Or at the core of a lot of denominational beliefs, if you don't have those particular beliefs, your salvation's in jeopardy. And I think that's absolutely preposterous and ridiculous. So that's not what the Bible promotes. That's certainly not, in my belief, what God is looking for. And that's a result of our own imperfections. So hope you found this interesting. We'll talk to you soon.